Hi guys, Jobin here. It's time to do a proper review of the HEST Folder 2.0. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you've probably seen that I have several about this knife and its 1.0 predecessor. If I were to go to a great deal of detail about my experiences with it, this review could easily become extremely long. I don't wish to do that. My goal here is brevity, to cover the important points, the pros and cons as I have found them after several weeks with this knife, and to do so in as compact a manner as possible. To that end, I have some talking points prepared. So first off, very briefly, the problems that the 1.0 version of this knife had have been resolved. Its tendency toward lock failure if closing force was placed on the blade has been eliminated. Also, several users reported being able to touch the edge of the blade when it was in the closed position by doing something like this. That has also been resolved. And something I have not seen discussed very much, the 1.0 versions, the rotoblock tended to get rather floppy. It was very stiff for the first day or two, and then it would get floppy enough to engage accidentally, just when you were removing the knife from your pocket or something. This one has remained at a reasonable tension for weeks now, and I'm pleased with that. A noteworthy issue with this knife is that it is prone to what's called lock rock, which is basically a small amount of vertical play. This is a feature some people will find completely unacceptable. And while I can't understand that, there is an alternate view, as espoused by my friend at Neptune Knives, that that's sort of unavoidable in a knife of this type and design, and that the question you should really ask is, well, does the lock fail? Because that's what you really care about. And, as I said, the answer is no, and that includes some hard use testing with very aggressive spine wax. Also, I tested how the opening and closing action would be affected by basically shoving the knife in the dirt and getting a bunch of mud all caked in the mechanism. And it passed that test just fine. The only thing you have to do, and this is just a common sense thing with folders of this design that use a stop pin, is you have to blow hard in here or stick a twig in or something and make sure you brush any caked mud out from around the stop pin. Otherwise, it may not open all the way and it may not lock up. But that's completely standard. Overall, I was very pleased with how the knife handled being extremely dirty and filled with dirt. Now, some demerits I have to give this knife are the ergonomics. And this seems a little odd to me because I love the ergonomics on its big brother, the HEST fixed blade. And as you can see, when viewed from the side, they look basically identical. The difference comes in when you view them like this. And you'll see that the HEST fixed blade has all rounded corners here. The handle has an almost oval profile. The folder is much blockier and more rectangular. There are some slight bevels here, but they don't really do much. And I found this uncomfortable for extended use. I tried to use it to rough out the shape of a whittling project, and I found that the handle generated hot spots and my hand started to get kind of cramped. This is really not helped by this pocket clip, which is the single worst feature on the knife. It sticks out way too far. It's completely ridiculous. I mean, here's the clip on my Zero Tolerance 350. You know, look at that. And this digs into your hand and is very annoying. If you remove it, then the ergonomics of the knife are immediately leagues better. I would like to see this pocket clip substantially changed by DPX gear, or at the very least some enterprising soul to come up with an aftermarket solution. Now, some definite pros this knife has. The blade shape is very good. This is a time-tested, proven design, the drop point. It's useful for a very wide variety of tasks. The D2 steel blade has good edge holding. I did some testing on that, and starting from a knife sharpened on the SharpMaker fine rods, It did over 120 cuts, totaling up over 1,000 inches of cut cardboard, cut corrugated cardboard, before it lost its ability to shave any hairs off my arm. And that seems pretty good to me. Nor was it extremely hard to sharpen back up to that level again afterwards. Also, and I'm not going to cover them in detail, but the knife does have several interesting features, the glass breaker and so forth. And it has a nice safety feature in the way that the tang area of the blade is designed. You see here, it's almost like a choil. It's sort of hidden behind this projection of the handle. But if the lock ever did fail, then it's not going to immediately guillotine your fingers, because the thing that's going to hit your fingers first is that unsharpened projection there. So that's good. It's almost like a choil. Overall, the HEST Folder is a serviceable but imperfect knife. I expected I would love it, but found that I didn't, which again is odd because the HEST fixed blade is my favorite knife ever. So it is not a knife I can comfortably and wholeheartedly recommend as absolutely awesome, but it is serviceable and it does fill a gap in the marketplace. If you want a very hard use folder with a titanium frame lock, but you can't afford to spend over $200 or much more than $200, $300, $400, $500, $700 for a Hinderer or a Strider, this is pretty much the only game in town. And at under $200, it'll get you into that performance category. Extremely hard use, titanium frame lock. And so I think it is an important knife, and it is one to recommend for that role, at least until something better comes along. And I really hope it will, because I like this category of knife, but many of them are prohibitively expensive for many people. So I hope you folks enjoyed this review, found it helpful, and I also hope you enjoy the rest of your day.